Hello all my beautiful sisters from those other misters, and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I'd sit down with you guys and do my makeup while also talking about some of my favorite makeup brushes. So if you don't know this about me, I love makeup brushes. I am a complete and utter makeup brush snob. And I mostly use luxury natural hair brushes. So if that is absolutely not your thing, you might want to like skip this one, or if you just want to watch me put my makeup on my face while I gush over the brushes that I love, you can join me anyway, whatever you want to do. But I will mostly, I think exclusively, except for a few brushes, be talking about luxury natural hair brushes in this video. So let's start. Let's just start. I'm going to start with a Hakuhodo brush. This is a B125. This is an angled stubby brush, and I like to use this to apply my eye primer. So I'm going to need a mirror, aren't I? I'm probably going to talk about a lot of Hakuhodo brushes in this video because it is probably like my most owned brand, and it's just, look, I make no apologies. I love the brand. So this is actually a natural hair goat and synthetic brush blend, which makes it fantastic for using liquid and cream products. I'm using the Ulta Beauty Matte Eye Primer today to prime my eyes. This brush applies product really nicely. It picks up product well, obviously, and blends fantastically. Is that a word? I really like using these types of brushes to apply my primer rather than my finger, because your girl got fucking like liabilities attached to her fingertips. The next brush I'm going to use is actually from Rae Morris. Rae Morris is an Australian makeup artist, and in the past her brushes were majority natural hair, and all of the brushes that I own from Rae Morris are natural hair. However, if you go and buy a Rae Morris brush these days, they are all synthetic. So if you are a cruelty-free or synthetic brush only user, then you can safely buy Rae Morris these days. As far as I'm aware, she no longer sells natural hair brushes. Now, this one is the number 7, and you can see it is a nice big pointed blender brush. I like to use this brush to apply a matte like cream eyeshadow, and I set my primer with it. Basically, I like to only set between my crease, so this section where I'm sweeping product now, and up to my brow bone. And I usually leave this section of the eye, so the eyelid, I leave that just as it is, because I like my shimmery eyeshadows to have something to grip onto. This brush is exceptionally soft, and I can say I have felt her synthetic brushes in store, and they feel just as nice as her natural hair brushes. So I don't think you're really missing out on much by having the synthetics over the natural hair. All right, let's get into the fun part and apply some color to these eyes. I'm going to start with this brush from Chikohodo. This is a GSN 10 brush, and this is just a standard fluffy blending brush. I like to use these brushes to we're going bright today, guys, and that picked up a lot of product. I like to use these brushes to apply eyeshadows in my crease, in my outer corner, and for blending. The eyeshadow that I'm using at the moment is from Terra Moons. It is called Meet Me on Mars. Here's what I will say about Chikohodo brushes. Look, how do I say this? They're not the most refined natural hair brushes that I've ever used. They can start to look a bit raggedy after many years of use. However, They are very soft and they apply product beautifully and they blend very well. I'm not sure what the type of hair is on this brush. My guess would be goat though. Time for more Hakuhodo. This is a J6090. This is a blend of goat and synthetic hair, and I don't know if I'm really going to be able to show you what's going on with this brush, but it is something special. This is a very long, very skinny, angled duo fiber brush, and when you start, like when the hairs get at this, like the very tip, the end, they become quite sparse, and this brush is so good for blending and for applying things in a very, very soft fashion. Because it's small, it is also great for doing like outer corner work, inner crease work where you want to keep things a bit more contained. So I'm going to apply an Inglot shade. It is, oh my god, I can't pick this shit up with my nails. Yeah, just no, it's just not happening. This is a 301 from Inglot. I don't think I've used this shade before. Let's give it a go. So you can see that the brush still picks up a lot of product, but you might also be able to see with product on there how sparse the hairs become right on the tip. Can you see this sort of translucency up the top here? The hairs are very, very sparse. So the way that they apply product is extremely soft. And if you're trying to play around with like, you know, application of, or like the intensity of the application of products, especially colored products, you can get some really cool effects with this brush. Like when you're applying eyeshadows and stuff, it doesn't have to be like 110% full intensity all the time. You can apply pigmented eyeshadows in a subtle, soft way and they can look beautiful. So I'm gonna just apply this to my outer corner and I want to drag it through the inner part of my crease just to deepen up that shade a little bit and bring down the pinkness. This brush is also fantastic for targeted highlighting. I love to use this when I'm like highlighting this little section in here or the inner corner of my eye. Maybe I want to do my brow bone because it's so small, and you don't have to pick up, you know, like a larger highlighting brush that then sort of, you know, takes up a whole big chunky area of skin. I love this brush. I want to buy more of them. Wow, this eyeshadow has some major pigment going on. Natasha Denona. This is not the last Natasha Denona brush you will see in this video, but I feel like we need to have a discussion. I'm going to use this one, which is the number 7 brush. It is an angled flat shader brush. I'm going to use it to apply the Glaminatrix Egg Hunt pressed eyeshadow. So this brush, look, it's a funny one. I have to say, Natasha Denona, the price tag is luxe. The quality is questionable. However, I own 2 of her brushes that I really enjoy, and this is one of them. I would say that this brush looks rough as guts when I wash it. You have to be like really careful to make sure you put it in like a brush guard to keep its shape and all that jazz. It's, oh God, it's like a whole fucking thing. But the shape and the size of the brush and the way it like picks up product and applies it is just, it's beautiful. So I would say be careful when buying Natasha Denona brushes. If you have the ability to go and touch them in store and see what they're like, definitely do that before you commit. But she does have some gems. I'm going to use a different brush on the other eye. This is from Smith. This is a 253 brush. I believe it's called the Arrowhead Shader or something like that. So you might be able to see it is just like a flat packing brush, but it has like a very like nice point at the tip. I really like the point because it gives you control for getting on the inner corner. So this is a pony hair brush, and you might be able to see just how well that picks up product and how it applies it just so intensely. These are really nice little brushes. Look, spoiler alert, I may have brought some more Smith brushes recently because I really enjoy the one that I have, and it is a brand that I want to explore more. And also, like, how quick was that? Like, one and done. I have this brush from Hakuhodo. You can see it is a tiny, tiny little blending brush. I have no idea what brush it is. It is not named. It just says Hakuhodo, and that is infuriating. What I particularly like these types of brushes for is fixing up the area where I have just applied like a shimmery shade over my eyelid, and I need to now blend it back into the matte shade. So all I do is I pick up a little bit of product on the brush and I target it right on the edge of the shimmery shade and the matte shade. And all I'm trying to do is bring in a tiny little bit of color into that shimmery shade and just make the edges really nice and blended and seamless and pretty. Because this brush has a little bit of added stiffness to it, because the bristles are quite short, they're densely packed, you have a lot of control with like manipulating the product in a specific area and blending things seamlessly. If you use a large blending brush for this job, you have less control. So that is what I love these tiny little brushes for. Okay, let's move on from the eyes for a few minutes, more like probably 5 fucking hours, because, you know, the talking and the application, I can't shut up. We're going to move on to skin. I'm going to start with applying some concealer and then blending it out with a brush that I think is absolutely fantastic. Also, this is a bruise, and I'm not really going to try and cover it all that much. I'm just going to see what I can get done with concealer and foundation, and then I'm just gonna live with it because I don't really care. Let's talk about this brush. Not a luxe brush. This is actually from Zoeva. It is the 146 Concealer Perfector, and this is a fully synthetic brush. Now you might be able to see it's fairly large. It is a curved dome brush with an angle, and this thing is absolutely brilliant for blending concealer. Who would have guessed? Synthetic fibers are very, very good for blending cream products and giving like a nice smooth application, smooth and even application. And I'd just say the cut of this, just, I don't know why, it just makes everything like just works so well. A similar concealer brush that you might see quite often, this is another Zoeva one. It's a concealer buffer, and you can see it's just like a, you know, round domed brush. It just does not work in the same way that this does, and I think that is because of the way that you hold this brush to like use it. I think it's just like, it's a lot more organic to how, you know, you would use a brush like this. The way that you hold it is encouraging you to use the top surface area of the brush, which is what gives you that beautiful airbrushed appearance of your makeup. Whereas with a brush like this, if you're going in like this, you're actually using the edge of the bristles, and if you want to use the very like tips of the hairs, you have to use it in this fashion. This, rubbish. This, brilliant. You could totally also use this brush for like targeted contouring around the nose if you really like to do that. I'm too lazy. I can't be bothered. It's not really my thing, but you could. All right, let's do some foundation. I'm actually going to use 2 brushes on like different sides of my face because, oh my god, there's a hair in my foundation. Because I got a couple that I want to talk about. Let's start with a Sonia G brush. This is the classic base. So this came in like a range. They had, I think there was, I don't know, 4 or 5. I picked up 3 because I wanted them. This one is the largest one and the one that I like to apply foundation with. I'm using the Shiseido Synchro Skin Self-Refreshing Foundation. So let's just do one of these. Now, I will say this. I am not using foundation brushes to apply my foundation these days because I really enjoy a lighter coverage. A foundation brush is going to give you a much heavier finish, or you're going to spend a hell of a lot of time, like, you know, trying to move product around your face and blend things out. But in saying that, these are still wonderful brushes if you do enjoy a fuller coverage. And just because I don't like that doesn't mean other people won't like that. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with enjoying a fuller coverage, especially if you feel like you need it. Because I've been there, I've done that, I get it. What I typically like to do with this brush is sort of get things on, wait for the makeup to sort of not be set, but sort of start to set a little bit. And then I love to use a stippling motion to smooth everything out. You can get a little bit of a streak. This foundation looks so pale on me compared to this insanely vibrant hair. It's blowing my mind. We're gonna bronze so much. Distracted. You can get a little bit of a streaky finish when you are using brushes like this because they are tiny little hairs dragging through your foundation. So if you experience that and you didn't know this already, just use a stippling motion, my love, and that will fix so many issues. Also, what is this stuck in my foundation? Rude. So again, you're gonna get that like full coverage with this brush. However, I would actually say it's probably a little bit easier to get a lighter coverage with this particular brush because it is a true duo fiber. The Sonia G is a synthetic and a natural hair blend, but the cuts and the composition of the hair, the way it sort of sits in the ferrule they're different. They're just different. This one, I think it is easier to get that lighter coverage, but I'm gonna try and match the two, so you know we're just going full coverage. The other foundation brush that I really love is from Hakuhodo. I know it's the G5556. This again is a duo fiber brush. It is goat hairs and synthetics. And when you see this brush in person, hopefully you'll be able to capture it on camera as well. You might be able to see the color difference between the hairs. So the goat hairs are a bit more almost like an off-white color, and they sit ever so slightly lower than the synthetic hairs. So the synthetic hairs come up to the very top and they are pure white, and then the goat sits a little bit deeper. I would also say with this type of brush, like the structure where you've got, you know, the duo fiber sitting up higher than the natural hair, and the duo fibers being a bit more sparse, it is actually a little bit less common to get as much streaking as what you might experience with a brush that has a cut like the Sonia G brush. So it's really going to depend on like your preferences. Another thing that can play a really big part is skin texture and your actual foundation, because some foundations just play better with brushes than others do. So, you know, that's something to take into consideration. Also, if you are somebody who seems to always have issues getting foundation to stick to your nose, brushes probably won't help. Soz. I don't really have a solution for that either. Okay, working very quickly, I am going to set my under eyes with this brush. It's from Hakuhodo. I know, I'm sorry. This is the Yachio medium tapered brush, I think. Obviously you might be able to tell it's wrapped in bamboo, or maybe it's cane, I can't remember. It doesn't have like the brush name on it. I believe it is the HA1665. This is a very typical cut of brush that I love and I use for many things: highlighting, setting under the eyes, targeted contouring, blush, all of the things. I really like to use this for this purpose at the moment, just setting the concealer and the foundation that is under my eyes, because it moves. I have an expressive face, and if I do not set this, so many noises. If I do not set this area, everything migrates. Okay, let's move on to bronzing. I'm going to use two types of products because I think I'm going to need it because your girl's looking a bit washed out. Rainbow hair will do that to you, just to be warned. This brush here is from Rephr. It is the 22 brush. This is designed for bronzing. You can totally use it for heaps of other things. Blush, powder, of course, like body work if if you're into that. I love this brush, and it is constantly dirty because I'm constantly using it for bronzing, especially for this product. This is from Hourglass. It is the ambient lighting powder in dim light, and I just love it for this job. So I get right in there. I'm just like fucking balls to the wall. No guts, no glory. It picks up product beautifully. This is a very light product, so it doesn't matter if I pick up a lot of it. When my hair is quite faded, this is enough bronzer for me in winter, but you might be able to tell it doesn't even touch the sides. It looks like I'm setting my face with powder at the moment. I'm just going to pop this all over the area where I want to bronze, and then I am going to go in with something a little bit darker. This brush is beautifully soft. Now I'm taking a stab in the dark here. I think this is goat hair. They don't mention what hair is used. They just say it's a natural uncut hair. So it is an animal hair brush. Let's do a little bit of this and a little bit of this because this powder is really soft, so it can kind of go wherever I want it to. From what I understand, this is the largest brush in Rephr's selection of brushes at the moment. They did have another one, which is the 06. I believe it's been discontinued because it's extremely difficult to get hairs of this length. And when you're talking about huge, big, fluffy brushes like that, yeah, they're hard to find, and they're often super expensive. Although, if you look, let's take a pause. Actually, do I really not have any? Well, your girl might not actually have any that are quite that long. How's that possible? Holy crap, that might actually be my longest hair brush. I do have one here from Hakuhodo. It is the B531, just for comparison with like hair length. And it is like an angled brush, so that is what it is. And this one is from Chikohodo for Beautylish, I believe. It's the Year of the Rat brush, so you can see the length there. I'm pretty sure you could probably find something of this length on the Hakuhodo website, but it's gonna cost you an absolute arm and a leg, and I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. Hairs like that are, they're expensive and they're difficult to come by, so there's that. I'm going back in with the same brush, and I'm going in with this guy. It's in my project pan. It's the Ulta Beauty Matte Bronzer. This is in the shade Cool. Let's see if this actually warms me up. That's looking a bit better. Let's go in. So this brush from Rephr, if you are looking for a large brush, I would highly recommend this one. It's beautiful and soft. It blends everything gorgeously. It is large, so obviously you want to use it on large areas of the face and the body, and it gives that nice sort of like diffused look. Do be careful if you're using very highly pigmented products, because it can apply product heavily. It is a very nicely densely packed brush, so obviously be aware of that. Okay, let's move on to blush. I have two brushes that I want to use. I'm going to talk to you about the Natasha Denona 16. This is a synthetic and natural hair duo fiber brush. Let me double check. It says it's a tapered face brush with synthetic fibers. Is it just synthetic? Maybe it is. I don't know. I mean, it's duo fiber, and the reason why I would argue that it is not just synthetic is, again, hopefully you guys can see it, there is a color difference between the types of hairs. So down here you've got like the cream colored or the off-white colored hair, which is like, that's kind of how you tell something is a natural fiber. And then you have the like pure white, like perfect cut synthetic hairs. So I don't know if the brush has like changed and this is like an old version. I don't know, sorry guys, I don't know the things. This is very nice for applying a shimmery blush or powder blushes. That's all great. I'm actually going to use it to apply a cream brush. This one is cream, oh god, my brain. Cream blush. This one's from 3 Concept Eyes. It's the Stylenander blush cushion in the shade Peach. Now, I am the type of person who doesn't like to wear a very, very heavy blush application. I really enjoy it when my blush looks like it is just my natural skin flushing, essentially. So when it comes to applying many blushes for me, I feel that they are too pigmented and they go on too heavy, and it stresses me out and I look like a clown. And my neighbors are just banging. They're banging. If you can hear it, you can hear it. It's fine. This is real life here. You might be able to see with the Natasha Denona brush that I just keep going in and it just keeps building exceptionally slowly, and I love that. I feel like this brush allows me to have a lot of control with products that potentially could go like sideways really quickly. I will say this particular product is quite forgiving because it is quite sheer, but nevertheless I love using this to apply this product and more pigmented products. I am going to talk about another Rephr brush that is very different to the cut that I just used. This is the number 17. This is a flat top buffing brush. Features quite short bristles that are not super densely packed. They're actually fairly light, so they give you a really nice buffing ability with the structure of the hairs and the cut. But again, I really like to use this to apply creams and liquids. So what I like to do with this brush is to stipple the product on, and I do feel that this brush is the type of brush that I can use when I'm already confident that I know how a product is going to apply to the skin. So I know this blush is going to apply quite sheer, and I'm confident going in with it in a bit more of a heavy manner depending on like what I'm using to apply it. So with this brush I can sort of get the blush application done, nice, smooth, even application, quicker than what I can with this brush. But this brush gives me a lot more confidence that it's going to apply something soft and sheer, whereas this brush is a bit more of like, you know, it packs a bit more of a punch. Okay, let's highlight. I'm going to use NARS Fort de France because it's beautiful and I think it'll go well with the eyeshadow that I'm wearing today. I have like 500,000 highlighting brushes that I love. I want to try to feature an array of them, and I also want to show you how this little guy works, the one that I used for applying the eyeshadow as a highlighter brush. Let's just start. This here is from Hakuhodo. It is a giant brush and very good. It does not have a brush name on it. I would say that I will try to find out what brush this is, but searching through the Hakuhodo website, like, it's going to take me a really freaking long time, and I cannot guarantee that I will be able to work out which brush this is. So many apologies, but what you can see is it is an exceptionally long, skinny brush that you can do all sorts of things with. You can use this to apply powder. You could totally use this to like soft contour, blush, highlight is like one of the ways that I like to use it, because this brush is, you can see it's small around the ferrule, so you know that the amount of hairs in here is really not a whole lot, especially when you compare it to a brush that's like this. And what happens, because the hairs are so long and they're cut in a dome shape, the hairs splay, so it becomes very soft up the top. It's very like flimsy, so the application that you're going to get with this is going to be quite sheer, and I consider it kind of ethereal with highlighting. So pick up the product. I'm, you know, I don't pick up a small amount. I might tap off and then just go in and highlight. So you'll be able to see that that gives like quite a sheer application, and you do have the ability to build it up if you want. These sorts of brushes are absolutely fantastic for people who have large surface areas on the face, or if they like to use a lot of highlighter in a large area. Also very good for the body. Another one from Hakuhodo. Are you kidding? It also doesn't have the name on it, like the number, the brush number. You're rude. Similar deal, just on a much smaller scale. So the hairs are like, there's not a whole lot because the ferrule is small. By the way, the ferrule is this section, if you didn't know that. But because the hairs are long, they have quite a bit of like that sort of flimsy movement. Now with a brush like this, you're going to have a whole lot more control than with a brush like this, so it's going to be a lot more targeted. You probably want to be a little bit more careful about how much product you're picking up. I am picking up quite a bit because I'm familiar with the product. I know what it's going to do. Now with this one, your application method might be a little bit more careful, basically. With the large brush, I was just like, oh, go for it. With a smaller brush, I would not be all go for it. I typically use like a sweeping motion in one direction. So I sweep across the cheek, lift it off, and then go back and start to sweep up the cheekbone. So you can see that you get that same sort of application with the product, but it's not as like, I mean, this is all big and sweepy, and this one is a bit more targeted. So depending, I think you're going to choose your highlighting brush based on your face shape, how you like your highlighter to look, how much highlighter you like to apply. I'm just going over with this big guy because, you know, what you do to one side, you got to do to the other. We got to be balanced, but I really want to demonstrate those different types of brushes. Another one that I want to demonstrate is this, and this is in the same family as this Hakuhodo brush that I use to apply the eyeshadow. This one is a G6070. These apply highlighter so beautifully. Because of the structure of the brush, so you'll be able to see there, it is an angled brush. The hairs are cut very irregularly, so you've got some really short hairs, and then as they come to like the point of the brush, the hairs are very sparse, and this gives you a really nice soft application of highlight. And I like to use, I mean, I use this particular brush to highlight my whole face, but when we get up to this area on the forehead where I definitely don't want to apply as much highlighter as I have on my cheeks, why are there seagulls out there? Can you hear them? This is not the beach. So in this area, I'm happy to apply my highlighter a lot heavier because I want that beautiful like reflect and glow. But I mean, I already have a giant forehead, so I don't really need to be highlighting it, but I do anyway because it's my face and I do what I want. But I know that I don't want to go in with a brush as heavy as these guys. Like, that's a mistake. That's where brushes like this come in. And I like to just apply a tiny bit just to give my skin a bit more glow. Another thing, if you have a similar sort of face shape to me, and you're like, I want to try and highlight my forehead, but also I don't have a brush like this, A trick, if you have like a smaller highlight brush, is to highlight your face and then take the excess that's on the brush and then do the forehead. There you go. But also, if you don't want to highlight your forehead, don't. It's your face. You do what you want with it. Now, this little guy, so this was the 6090. I want to demonstrate how this highlights. This, because the hairs are shorter, it's going to pick up more product. So just be aware of that. But again, you still get that very soft, diffused application. And I really, really enjoy this brush for these highlighting areas. So inner corner of the eye, here on the, like the, I don't know, what is this part called? People who know faces? Is it still part of the bridge of the nose, or is that just, I don't know. I don't highlight the bridge of my nose because I broke it when I was in primary school and she's crooked. But I do enjoy highlighting this section here. I think it sort of adds to that dewy skin look. Just don't put 10 kilos of highlighter on there because it's kind of weird. Also, for everyone who hates when people highlight the tip of their nose, soz, I do it. And if you want to make your lips look fuller, you can highlight the Cupid's bow. Be really careful when you do this because you can totally make yourself look like you have a sweaty upper lip. It's not cute. Ugh, I love highlighting. It's so fun. Okay, I do want to apply just a tiny bit more eyeshadow, and now is the time for me to do it before I like finish off the eyes. I'm going to use this brush. This is from Rephr. It's the 23 brush, and you can see it is a teeny tiny little pencil brush. Now, I have this almost exact shape and size from so many brands. This is a fantastic brush for people who have small eyes and need to do detail work. What I like to do with this brush is pick up an eyeshadow. I'm using this one from Inglot, which is the 299. It's a nice warm brown. I am going to tap off the excess because I'm not trying to apply 500 kilos of this, and I am going to take this right along my lower lash line. When a brush is this small, obviously it gives you heaps of control over your product and where you're applying it. I also like to use these brushes for creating like a smoky wing with eyeshadow. I use them to highlight the inner corner of my eyes, and sometimes I will even use these for targeted problem blending. So if a matte eyeshadow has like sort of gripped in a spot and I can't blend it out with a normal blending brush, I will take one of these and I will just be like, get out damn spot. Okay, the last brush that I want to talk to you guys about is this from Crown Brushes. Oh, they don't make brushes anymore, do they? Oh dear. Oh no, it appears that they do. What brand am I thinking of then? Look, never mind. This is the C221 Metal Eyelash Definer. Now, you may not classify this as a brush, but it looks brush-ish. You could consider this a tool. This is literally a metal eyelash comb, and it is, you can use this as a weapon, which means I should specify that you need to actually be really super careful when you use this. I have physically stabbed a hole in my fingers when I have been watching this. I have also stabbed myself in the eye with this. No damage done, thank God. But this is super sharp. You must be careful with it. But this is a fantastic brush if you have issues with your eyelashes clumping when you apply mascara. Now, the mascara that I'm applying right now doesn't usually have clumping issues, but I think if you apply mascara and you've ever experienced it, you will know the frustration of clumping eyelashes, especially if that's not the vibe that you're going for. Now, this brush, because it is a metal comb and it like each metal prong is quite sharp, it really has the ability to get through the lashes. Also, they are very closely spaced together, so when it runs through the lashes, it really helps to separate them and define them. And I'm trying to be really careful while I'm doing this because I actually don't want to poke myself in the eye. It really hurts. This is a fantastic little tool to have in your like application arsenal. It's also really good, and I would say even easier to use on the lower lashes because you can go from underneath and drag it through. You can take this comb from the top down and drag it through as well, which is potentially a safer way to use it. However, it pushes the lashes down a little bit, and you all know that we are going for that lift and that curl. So I would definitely say it is worth having one of these, but when you use it, be patient, be careful, and remember that you don't want to poke yourself in the eye with anything because it hurts, and especially not this because it's sharp. So that is it for just a very, very small selection of my favorite makeup brushes. Feel free to leave your comments about the brushes that you saw here. Maybe I use some of your favorites. Maybe you have some other favorites that are similar to the ones that I used. Or perhaps you have a brand of makeup brush that you want me to explore. Let me know, because you know me, I can't resist buying makeup brushes. I have bought some. They're on their way. We'll talk about them when I do my purchases video at the end of the month. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.